My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Back another exciting episode today. Zooming in from beautiful New Jersey, we have a real estate entrepreneur, a real estate syndicator, and a master of capital raising, doing it a slightly different way that I'm not super familiar with. And I've been interviewing a lot of people about capital raising for a number of years, but I want you to help me welcome our special guest, Mustafa Ladha. Mustafa,
Hey
welcome to the
Dave,
show.
nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
great to
Thank
have
you
you.
so much.
Okay, Mustafa, first things first, tell us a little bit about what real estate investing looks like for you, 2025. What are you guys investing in? What asset class? What do you like the best?
Sure. So we invest a lot in multifamily, either value add or ground up construction. So very simply, we're going in and adding an immense amount of value, both for our tenants, for our investors, for ourselves. And really the goal is very simple. If you add value, you'll be able to monetize along the way.
Yeah. So what size properties you guys usually taking down? Or so let's
Anywhere
say
from
let's say you're purchasing a value add apartment building. What's by your buy box? And then tell me what your build box is when you're building from the ground up.
Yeah, so typically what we do is everything is kind of integrated. So let's say it's a project that we bought the land. We'll go in, we'll rezone, we'll develop, and then we'll refinance. In today's environment in March 2025, interest rates feel high. And I'd say they feel high because they've been very low for a long time. But if you looked at a macroeconomics, you'd say, okay, they're about average. Whatever the situation is, we're not necessarily able to go in and leverage as much as we would have been able to maybe 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So we're still able to go in, refinance, get all of our capital out and make a profit. But now you're sitting with maybe, let's say 30% of trapped equity. Now, for somebody who has a unique skill set of development, which is abnormal in the space of real estate, managing an asset that's built in 2025 is a lot easier than building an asset.
Hmm.
So for us, it's fundamentally to say, hey, if we can sell that to investors, they walk into a positive cash flow. They walk into a positive, you know, preferred return, so they're making money first. We structure so that they walk into a discount as well. So now, because we already got all of our money out of the transaction, whatever we're selling our equity for is essentially an infinite return. So we have the appraisal, we know what it's worth. We structured that as at a discount. Investors walk into positive equity day one. So it's a very strong defensive feature for an investor. And let's say as an investor, you've never invested in real estate before. It's very normal to feel uncomfortable with that asset class because there's a lack of knowledge, there's a lack of access, and there's a lack of liquidity in a lot of situations versus the stock market. So for me, when I'm talking to somebody, Dave, it's really important to understand where they're coming from, what they want to achieve in real estate, and how we can do that. Typically, an asset that's already built represents the lowest risk profile. So that's somewhere where we would consider starting if that's, somebody who's accredited, somebody who is looking to generate a lot of money in a tax efficient manner. Basically, somebody who's looking to build generational wealth. It's a certain
Oh,
kind of buy.
sorry, let me, I'm missing something here, Mustafa.
Sure.
Okay. So one thing that you guys do is you build to rent is what you're developers, correct? So
Correct.
you're doing build to rent, but then it sounds like you're also you're not holding on to those properties, you're selling them to other investors. Is that what
No,
I'm
what we're doing
getting?
is we're syndicating it to other investors.
So you're holding on to it, but you're syndicating it and then you bring on investors. Okay. So it's build to rent and you hold it, correct? You and
Correct.
your okay. So that's way number one. The second thing is you buy value add properties. Is that correct as well?
No, so that would be the value add portion of that life cycle.
Okay,
So
so
for example,
you're not buying existing
correct.
apartment buildings that are run down and doing the value add from that side. You're built to rent basically is what I'm understanding.
Exactly. So in
100%,
that
that's all you guys
one
do?
100%. So that
Now,
investor, they can get in on the land rezoning if they wanted to.
yeah.
They can get in on the construction ground up if they wanted to. Those are two
Yeah.
different products in the same, let's say, life cycle. Or they can get in once it's actually stabilized and built.
Yeah.
Those are different entry points for the investor, which most people don't see in real estate.
Yeah. No, no, that's really smart. You guys are taking it all the way through, so you're getting the lift on each aspect of that development deal. And then the smart thing is, which I agree with you 100%, you're holding on to it long term instead of just selling it off and going off to
Exactly.
do the next deal. Okay, now I get it. Thanks for clarifying that, Mustafa. So what I was really interested about looking over the information you sent ahead of time is that you've got a very unique way of connecting with potential investors or limited partners or whatever you want to call them, people that are going to bring capital into your deals. And you do that using WhatsApp and LinkedIn. So tell me a little bit about that, starting with WhatsApp and just really dumb it down for me, Mustafa, because my extent of using WhatsApp is if I'm traveling in Mexico, that's kind of like my replacement for
I hear you.
whatever, right? So
Yeah.
tell me how you use WhatsApp for raising capital.
So I think fundamentally, when you sit in your shoes or in my shoes, it can be confusing in the sense that when you're getting started, a lot of people they're not able to scale. Maybe they're able to get 3 or 4 units and then they kind of plateau out. And the
Yep.
issue becomes accessing capital. And that's when they call up Dave, and Dave gives them a blueprint of how to raise capital, how to structure a fund, how to do A to Z. So for me, it was kind of similar where, I had access to deal flow. I was investing. My friends were asking for guidance on how to invest, and I was structuring projects for them. And a lot of my friends, a lot of the network that I had was on WhatsApp. Just like some people might have a lot of network at their local golf club or their local country club or Facebook or wherever it is. So for me, WhatsApp is just like how you'd hang out at the water cooler, or hang out, after hours, you'd go to the bar and drink, whatever it is.
So
There's
again,
places where people meet.
forgive me because I'm not an active WhatsApp user, and I
Yeah,
don't know if it's as popular in North America as it is in the rest of the world because it's huge. It's huge worldwide, but a lot of us dunderheads don't quite get it. So maybe explain to me how WhatsApp works for you, how you use this as a communicator.
sure, sure. So very simply, WhatsApp is just a mode of communicating with people. And you're right, exactly right when you say most people in America don't use it. But the people who use it in America typically have family overseas.
Yeah.
They could be in Europe, they could be in Asia, they could be in Africa. Pick a continent, pick a country. Those are the types of people who are typically using WhatsApp. So fundamentally in WhatsApp, there's a lot of different networking groups that people have. So if you join a networking group and they're talking about investing, then they could be talking about the stock market, they could be talking about real estate, they could be talking about crypto, whatever asset class. So for me, it was very simply to find a group of like-minded individuals that are looking to invest, to understand if they're looking to invest in real estate, to curate that list, and to understand what their buy box is, and to build out a strategy or a product that fits that buy box, and then to scale using proof of concept. Because very simply, for me, Dave, it's all about creating value for others
Mhm.
and then leveraging that value to grow more. And I think for most people, it's the same. Like you have to start somewhere. People
Mhm.
want like an MVP, a minimum viable product, a proof of concept. And then from there, everything grows.
Okay, very cool. So again, for the rest of us that aren't super active on WhatsApp, it is kind of a combination of whatever you call the Apple platform where you can text message and do group chats and that
Yeah,
sort of
like
thing.
iMessage.
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of iMessage and social media kind of combined, right? So it's the only way I really use it is like an iMessage type thing to communicate with people in my contacts kind of thing. Some of them. But what you're saying is there are also groups in there. You can leverage it more like social media where you're meeting new people, you're joining groups, or in your case, if I understood you correctly, you started your own group. Is that what I'm understanding? Or did you
So I
just
didn't
join
even,
a bunch of other
yeah.
groups?
So I joined groups. I didn't
Yeah,
necessarily start my own group
yeah,
because very simply for me, it's all about efficiency of scale,
yeah,
right? You can start your own group and you can add people to it, etc. But then my group is going to be focused on what I'm an expert on, real estate,
yeah,
right? I'd rather join other groups that have other value add propositions and then add value to that group. And then ultimately, if somebody is interested in joining my group, then more than happy to kind of, send them an invite and grow my group like that. But ultimately, it comes all like from my mindset with capital raising and real estate, Dave, is really an abundance mindset. where you
Yeah.
can give a lot of value to others, and that doesn't necessarily take away from the value that you have,
No, I
right? So
completely
that's
get
really
it.
how I approach the business and how I approach, making people money.
And I'm just trying to understand tactically how you use this
Yeah,
marketing media to connect with people. So basically, you're in WhatsApp, you're finding groups with people that you would like to connect with who are interested in financial freedom or investing and kind of in general, they're looking to get ahead financially, right? That's the big broad strokes, not necessarily real estate. So you join those kind of groups, but then you also start your own group. So just give us an example. What did that look like for you? What did you start your group
yeah.
around?
So I start my group around on real estate, right? So
Just big
very
broad stroke, real estate
Yeah, very,
101
very
kind of
big
thing.
broad stroke real estate. And
Yeah.
in that group, I just talk about, performance. There's performance updates. If people want to join the webinar, that's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a group where I'm, spamming or I'm sending messages every week or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's, let's say, maybe a quarterly type update. Because the,
Cool.
the reality is, Dave, from my perspective, I'm busy closing transactions. I'm busy
For
making
what?
people money. I'm busy closing transactions and I'm busy making people money, right?
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to have a cadence where people who want to be updated, my investors or people who are interested in investing, they can be updated. But I don't want it to be like overwhelming where there's always an opportunity to invest in. While that
Mm-hmm.
might be the case, that's not really how I scaled my business. How I
Mm-hmm.
scaled my business is by understanding what Dave's buy box is and then sending him an opportunity on the cadence that he's looking for. If he's looking to invest in real estate every month, then I'm reaching out to him every month saying, hey, this is your buy box and this is a property that might be interesting. And here's my calendar if you want to chat about it. And typically I found that to be the most scalable because I think we're also in an era of like information overload
Yeah, definitely.
where people's inboxes are flooded, people are going on social media and there's so much like content being thrown at them. For me, it's not just to be another person throwing out a lot of content with no real value behind it. It's fundamentally to say, hey, you asked for X, and that's what I'm delivering, X. If you
Yeah.
want to invest, great. If you have questions, great. But don't feel obligated to reply to the email. Don't feel like it's your capital and it's your portfolio will grow at the pace you're comfortable with.
So Mustafa, I'm a bit of a I use social media, but I'm a Luddite and I'm believe it or not, I'm kind of not super outgoing. So I am part of some different groups and Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups and this and that. Not part of any WhatsApp groups, but is the approach kind of the same? So when you've joined somebody else's group, it sounds like you don't want to spam people because that just gets you kicked out and blocked and all that kind of stuff. You want to provide value. So what are you doing? Are you commenting on their posts? Are you putting in kind of educational stuff in there? What does that kind of look like from that being part of other people's group on WhatsApp?
Good question. Good question, Dave. Fundamentally, the reason why my approach works is because it resonates with my personality.
Yeah.
It's like if I was to go to like a BMW meetup, I would be able to talk about the car, the manufacturer of BMW, because that's something that I know well. If I was to go to, let's say, another hobby that I'm interested in, I would be able to add value. For me, I'm very passionate about financial literacy. I'm very passionate about financial freedom. I'm very passionate about the belief that you need to invest in yourself. So that's really what I talk about. And that's really where I go to places where other people are talking about that. So that way, when somebody's, quit their job or they're transitioning to a new job and they're upset with their 401k and the asset allocation and the poor performance, then I'm saying self-directed IRA, set it up. You'll save money on the fees. You'll be able to invest however you want. You can still invest in the stock market if you want. You can invest in real estate. You can buy a Ferrari. Just don't drive it, right?
Mhm.
You can do a lot with a self-directed IRA, and don't
Yeah.
let your kids drive it or your parents. Um, but your cousin can drive it, and he can buy a Ferrari, and you can drive his, and you're good. So there's a strategy out there, and it's very customizable. And it's the same with like life insurance, where you can use life insurance and high cash value policies to invest. But fundamentally, if I'm working a 9 to 5 and I'm working for somebody and I'm making 250K plus a year, I probably don't have free time. And if I do have free time, I want to spend it with my family.
Mhm.
Not everyone wants to necessarily invest so much in their own financial literacy and learning so much because they don't realize that this is a huge gap. And when they do realize it's a huge gap, sometimes it's hard to acknowledge that and hard to actually get started. Because school doesn't really teach us that we need to learn about how money works.
Mhm.
So for me, that's really what I focus on. and I focus on being that solution for people. And I have an open mindset to say, like, you don't have to talk to me about real estate. I'm happy to talk to you about other things, tax efficiency, things like that. And I'm happy to connect you with my network, which is probably broader than your network, because all I do is think about the efficiency of money all the time. Meanwhile, you might be thinking about, software coding, or you might be thinking about saving
Yeah,
lives,
whatever their
or
thing is.
whatever their specialty is.
Yeah.
And I think that's really my approach, Dave, is to partner with people where I can add a lot of value in my skill set, and they can add a lot of value in their skill set.
Cool. Cool. So do you do something similar on LinkedIn when you're kind of reaching out to people and connecting? Do you find groups on LinkedIn, and do you have your own LinkedIn group as well? And you kind of do it that way
So I
pretty
do
much.
I do some the mindset is the same, the approach
Mhm.
is different.
Mm,
In the sense that each platform is different. And from my perspective, it's about learning the platform and recognizing that, my biggest limitation is time.
mhm,
So I think LinkedIn, for example, maybe took me like a year to crack
mhm.
in terms of like what I think is a strategy that resonates with me. Because that's the whole thing in capital raising, in my opinion. You kind of need to be able to communicate to yourself, and you need to be able to understand yourself. That way you show up authentically to all of your conversations. Because in life, like a lot of people are transactional.
Yeah.
I'm not. I look for that relationship. So it's like, how do you build relationships with people at scale at whatever speed they're comfortable with? I have plenty of calls where people come on the call saying, I have no money, help me. And I'm happy to do that. I have other calls where people say the same thing, but they have a lot of money that they never realized that they had access to,
Uh-huh.
and it hasn't been performing well for them. So fundamentally for me, Dave, it's not about a transaction, it's about that relationship. And then that guy that I spoke to 6 years ago, for example, on let's say WhatsApp, and now he's making 1 million plus, in part because of what I said, in part not because of what I said, just because he's good at what he does. But
Right.
he associates me as good in real estate. Then he'll reach out to me and say, "Hey, Mustafa, I'm now in a position where I'm looking to invest. I'm now in a position where I'm able to invest. Let's talk and break this down for me based on the strategy you recommend." And that's very translatable to LinkedIn as well, where the person you're talking to today may or may not have capital, may or may not be a good fit. But if you're looking at it in a very transactional manner, you're just like, oh, pay $100 to book 30 minutes of my time, pay $500 to book 30 minutes of my time. An approach like that doesn't really resonate with me as a person. So I
Mhm.
don't execute on that strategy. Instead, I would say, hey, I know the value of my time and I'm happy to give it away for free. Not because it's not very valuable, but because that person's time is also valuable. And more than anything, I believe in that person's potential. Because I believe in people's potential.
Yeah.
And so that has enabled me to connect with a lot of people that I would have never met and work on, transaction sizes that are massive. And it's all by saying fundamentally not that many people are on LinkedIn using this platform in that manner. So if you're in a big ocean and no one is fishing, you have no competition or minimal
Or no,
competition.
nobody's using the same bait that you are.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so that's really my approach, is to say, hey, fundamentally, I don't know what I don't know. And I'm very hungry to learn and grow. And as I learn and grow, I optimize. And through that process, I create value for others. And by creating value for others, I'm able to monetize for myself. So it's kind of an end-to-end solution, just like how I would approach real estate, if that makes sense, Dave.
That does. Mustafa, time flies when we're having fun. If people would like to connect with you, where should they go? What should they do?
Yeah, so my information will be in the show notes, but they can go on LinkedIn and just type my name, Mustafa Ladha. I'll come up. Feel free to drop me a connection request, mention that you watched this awesome podcast with Dave, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome, Mustafa. Well, thank you very much for sharing your insights. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Dave. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
All right, everybody, take care. We will see you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.